How long has this movie been creeping around in that brain of yours? There's a microphone. You get a microphone.
Fantastic, but a mistake.
You get a microphone.
I can't believe you gave me a microphone. These guys want to see the movie. Anyway, it's been creeping around for quite a long time. You know, we were talking about out there. You know, really, it kind of. I was 11 years old and I was watching a movie called Star Wars. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
I might check it out.
And I remember, you know, Luke Skywalker dropping down into the trench there on the Death Star, and you know his photon torpedoes were ready, and the exhaust port was ray shielded, so that's why they had to use the photon torpedoes. I don't know if you know that. Anyway, so yeah, so that really got me. Really, it started me. That's why I have this job. You know, that this is what I knew then that that's what I wanted to do, is make movies. And then, you know, all through the sort of late 70s, kind of 77 to 87, that window is really the sort of birthplace of a lot of this imagery, whether it's Blade Runner or whether it's, you know, heavy metal, the movie or the magazine, whether it's Empire or whether it's John Boorman's Excalibur or any of those movies that all kind of like Milas's Conan the Barbarian. You know, I was a real fan of like fantasy and sci-fi, and I just felt like it was a thing I really wanted to do at some point, but I didn't know when that was going to happen. And you know, the idea was really tenacious. It stuck around. It was always there whenever I had a down moment. You know, when I was thinking about you know, to get away from any idea I was working on, I would just kind of do this, a little bit of this. And, you know, when we finished Army of the Dead, and our friends, partners at Netflix were like, hey, what are we going to do next? And I said, well, I have this space thing. I don't know if that's the thing. And they were like, that sounds cool. And, you know, then we got to work on it. And it really, I mean, the thing that's amazing about the process for me is that, you know, when you start at this sort of mythological level and you really start to just, whether it's the origin myths of the mother world, whether it's the, you know, the backstory of Daggis, whether it's, you know, all of these incredible characters and where they come from, because in movie 2 you'll learn that there's a lot, you sort of learn where all these heroes, what happened to them, to kind of break them. And I think that work is really, when you see it actually on screen and you forget that you thought of it, it's kind of a cool evolution to like start to be, to have the world surprise you back again. And I think that's what's fun about doing something on this scale. And you know, it's a joy to work with this incredible cast that you'll meet in a minute, but they've been incredible, and it's incredible actually to have this team. Wes has been an amazing partner of mine forever, and you know, I couldn't do anything without Debbie. It's just, it's really, yeah, I wouldn't want to do it. So it's just fun to have these guys, and yeah, so that's enough ranting.
Absolutely.
For me, I guess.
Well, that's Debbie. I mean, can you Zack says, I'm doing this space thing, which seems very, very simple, but this is not simple. This is huge. This isn't world building, this is universe building. Can you talk us through the challenges of bringing this to life?
Well, I think that working for a decade on DC really prepared us, because we were creating worlds, even though, you know, there was a canon to follow. It prepared us for creating worlds with making our own canon, which was really exciting, I think, at the time. But you really realize like all the work that goes into it. And this journey has been, I mean, he's been talking about this movie it's like since we first got married. It's been kicking around, and it took various iterations. It was.
She'd be like, enough already.
Are we gonna make this or not?
Yeah.
But it was a video game at one point. It was gonna be a television show. It was maybe going to be Star Wars, and I was not really into that, because I always felt like he had so many ideas, and I felt like he was going to be so hamstrung by...
Too many ideas.
So many ideas.
Too many
ideas. Too many. But I really feel like it was the right time now to make it, I think, because we did so much prep and we learned so much. to really, realize and how much work goes into it. And we were so fortunate to have an amazing, crew and team of artists, because the amount of art that you have to generate, the languages that we created, there's just so much work that sometimes we do that you might not see, like history that we have to create that maybe you'll learn about in the next movie or in the podcast that we're doing or in the making of book. But we have to do that work. But it was really exciting, and I feel really blessed that we get to do this, and we get to do this together.
Yeah, no, and I think
I ran too. I guess it's part of the family.
And I think that the reality is, like Debbie was saying, one of the most interesting parts of this journey has been the freedom to create that universe and to create the world, and to not have canon that exists that you have to figure out how to comfortably fit in that box or what boundaries you're going to push, but just to create those guidelines and that world and that mythology and that history. And I think that Zack, to his credit, it's the way he thinks as a filmmaker and as a writer, and so to have the pleasure of being a part of creating a universe like that has been fantastic. And to echo what you said, I can't imagine going on such a layered, nuanced, and complex journey with anyone other than the two of them, because it's such a fun and collaborative process. And I think that we're all honored to have the folks that you guys will be meeting very soon, to have them breathe life into these characters and bring them on the screen.
So before we meet those folks, Zack, can you talk us through the cast, one by one? 5 minutes per cast member.
Well, I'm just going to say generally that you have this idea, and you have you make these characters in your mind, and then you write them down, and then you hope that they're personified, and I mean, you don't even think, I never really think about it, what it's going to be like, what the performances will be like. I really don't do that. But when they show up and they do it and they make it better than you thought, you make it better than what you wrote, they make it better than the drawings or any of that. That's really when the movie comes to life for me and becomes something more than what I do kind of in private, that is draw and write. Yeah. It becomes that's when it really becomes something, a gift for everyone else, because they're performing now back to us, and it's not just for me now it's for everyone. I might be there with the camera, but the camera's there as a window to the world, and I guess it's a real honor, and it's a privilege, frankly, to get to have people with incredible talent serve an idea that you created, because it's just, like I said, they just make it better, and it's a real joy to have the relationship I have with all these guys.
But it was always an ensemble movie, but obviously you have...
Yeah, I have an issue with ensemble movies for some reason. I really don't like making ensemble movies. I don't want to. I just sit down, every time I sit down, it's I gotta make a team and go do a thing. And I was like, fuck, why? It's not, no, don't do it. But I'm blessed that I did that, because I got this group together, so.
Amazing. Well, on that note, let's meet the cast of RebelMoon, shall we? First of all, will you please welcome the film's composer, Tom Holkenborg, everybody.